how you are going to manage all these expenses to get your student visa. Up to $75,000, all the students are going to get this assistantship. It considerably lowers the cost of your education. This will give you an idea how long it will take you to recover all that money. I come from an upper middle class family, and a lot of my clients have come from middle class agricultural families, even because they were working in good jobs earning 3 to 7 lakh per annum. That is why they found about me on social media, but otherwise their families cannot really afford expensive education. So this is one of the concerns I get a lot, and the question is, should a middle class Indian student go to US for his study or not? So we get this concern that US can be expensive, but at the same time we are seeing how well Indians are doing in US. I mean, just look at the Indian CEOs, and many of them did not come from rich families. So if they can make it, why can't you? Still, the decision has to be well informed. So I thought I'll make a video doing some calculations and a good analysis so that we can come to a well informed decision about whether it makes sense for a middle class person in India to really go to US for their studies or not. Let's go. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe because we have more content coming up this month. Now today we are talking about whether a middle class Indian should go to US or not, and for this I'm going to cover 4 topics. First is, how much does it cost to study in US? Second, is it worth spending all this money? Third, how to finance your education? And lastly, my advice whether you should go for it or not. Let's start with the cost of education in US, and here I'm going to talk about 2 things. One is the gross cost of education, and second is the net cost if you are able to find some sort of funding. Cost of education, or the gross cost, is basically sum total of what you need to spend to apply to the colleges, and secondly, what do you need to live there and finish your studies. And here, as you can see the breakdown, the first part is taking the required tests itself. Here I'm adding GRE for now, but this may be optional going forward. You need around $500 for this because GRE costs $228 and TOEFL costs around $190. Second expense is application part itself. Let's assume you're applying to 10 to 15 schools and the application fee varies from $75 to $100. So it will come to around $1,000 to $1,200 on the application part. Then comes the visa fee, and here you have to pay 2 fees. First is the basic, the MRV application fee, which is $160, and second is the SEVIS fee. SEVIS fee payment is required for all F1 students, and the receipt has to be included when you apply for the visa. This is expensive. This is around $350. So the visa fee total comes around $510. Now traveling to USA, including your air tickets, commute to get to the university part and all those things, this will cost you around, let's say, $1,500. I'm keeping it on the lower side. And let's talk about the tuition fee is the next, which is the bulk of your expenses, and I am assuming a tuition fee of around $50,000 for your MS education because it really varies from university to university. Some would be cheaper, some would be expensive. Let's take an average of $50,000. And lastly is your living expenses. As a student, when you are living, you are paying the housing fee, your basic daily expenses, etc. This can come to around $20,000 for 1.5 years, and I've already adjusted this for current high inflation. So I've adjusted for all that. I think it will come around $20,000. So if you add all these up, the cost of doing your MS in US can go up to $75,000, which at the current rate of assuming $1 equal to 80 rupees will come around 60 lakh rupees. This is our gross cost of education in US. Now I'm going to talk about the net cost if you are able to find funding. And in funding, I'm not assuming that you will get some rare scholarship which very few people get. I'm talking about the possibility that if you find any sort of assistantship, which is research assistantship or teaching assistantship, which many people do, I did, many of my clients have done. If you can find this assistantship, then your gross cost of education is going to go down. And this is what I think most people do not take into consideration when they are thinking US, that you really have to look at the net cost, which is going to come down as we will see. So assuming you can get any of these assistantships usually include tuition waiver, which means they will waive your tuition fee. Sometimes this can be just 25% tuition waiver, sometimes it can go up to full 100% tuition waiver, as was my case. Now, I'm not saying that all courses or all the students are going to get this assistantship, but many courses are friendly and you can find these assistantship easily. Which are those courses? If you're applying for MS with thesis or research kind of programs in engineering fields or STEM fields, then a lot of people are able to find assistantship, maybe not in first semester but maybe in second semester onwards. The chances of finding this is lower if you're applying to MIS or MEM programs because they are slightly management oriented, and the chances go even down if you're applying for a program like MBA. So take this into consideration based on the program you're applying. But let's say you're applying for MS programs in engineering kind of fields, etc., there are good chances that you can find some assistantship. So let's assume if you get the assistantship, which includes the tuition waiver, so then your tuition is taken care of 25, 50 or even 100%. Apart from that, assistantship means that you are working as an employee for the university or the professors and they pay for it. So you also get a monthly stipend. Now this number is pretty good. So this stipend can vary from, let's say, $1,000 per month to even $2,500 per month. For example, one of my recent clients got a stipend of $2,324. That is $11,000 per semester for his TA-ship offer at University of California, Berkeley. So it means that you are not paying tuition and you are earning this money, which means your cost has not gone to zero, but you are even earning while you are studying, which was the case with me. I had gotten full 100% tuition waiver and I was earning a stipend per month. Now as I said, it will vary. You may not get full tuition waiver or something, but even if you get some sort of tuition waiver, it considerably lowers the cost of your education. So always take this into consideration when thinking about US, right? So now that we understand the gross cost of education and net cost of education, I'm not going to assume all of you are going to get assistantship. So the next question is it worth spending this money or not? Now let's assume that you got no tuition waiver or assistantship. That means your cost of education is still $75,000. This is our input. Now we need to understand what is the output. What am I getting from this education? That will help me understand whether this investment is worth it or not. This part is slightly calculation intensive, so I'm going to make some basic assumptions. Now, if you're going for a STEM field, I'm going to assume that you can get an average salary of $85,000 per year, or let's assume $7,000 per month. And I'm also going to assume that you're going to get a summer internship, and summer internships, by the way, pay you the same amount. So $7,000 per month or 2 months of internship will get you $14,000, right? Now 30% tax rate in US, which means you will save roughly around $10,000 of your internship money. Now you can use at least $5,000 after your other expenses towards reducing the cost of your education or paying your tuition fee. So your cost has gone down from $75,000, which we started with, to $70,000. Okay, this is your cost now. Now, once you start working, let's figure out how long will it take for you to recover this money. So here again, you graduated and have started earning the $85,000 salary, which will come to $60,000 post-tax, and assuming you can save 30% of it or use $18,000 from this towards paying off your loans, etc., you can pay off your remaining loan of $70,000 in roughly 3.8 years, right? This is what I call your break-even time. It will take you 3.8 years to recover all the cost of your education. To calculate this quickly and more accurately, taking more variables into account, we have included a detailed break-even sheet in our funding masterclass. Do check it out. It has all details in there. Now you will find that your break-even time from MS education will vary probably from 0 when you have full assistantship, when you're not spending anything on your education, to maybe 5 years for an expensive program and when you have no funding. So this will vary. So go with the kind of program you're going, do a bit of homework on kind of salaries you expect and roughly calculate this. This will give you an idea how long long it will take you to recover all that money. And of course, once that is done, you start building a stable wealth, and of course your salary is also going to increase every year. So then you start building your financial stability in US and live that kind of lifestyle. Now, I'm not going to tell what is right, good or bad here. I leave it up to you to compare what can your career trajectory look like in India and in US, and then figure out if this makes sense for you. Thirdly, let's talk about how will you finance your education, because assuming you decide to go, you will have to show how you are going to manage all these expenses to get your student visa. Now, let's say your parents or you have some savings, then you can finance rest of this education with education loans. There are a lot of public banks, private banks, all have education loan schemes, and there are also a lot of NBFCs which offer non-collateral education loans. It's a big topic. I'm going to probably cover it in a separate video, but loans are very, very common. 95% of my clients finance their education using these loans only. In exceptional case, let's say you have no savings or your family doesn't have enough savings, or there are some edge cases, then you may have trouble getting student visa. In this case, I would recommend that you talk to a visa expert as well as a financial consultant to help with your loan and financing requirements. Last and most important part, whether you should go for it or not. Now, I'm going to give you my advice, but I want you to do your homework because it has to be a well-informed decision. US education can be quite expensive without assistantship, and if you're going for a course where job availability is not good or you don't easily get work visa sponsorships, it can get pretty stressful. So for a middle class student, I advise that you go to US only for STEM courses or courses which are in demand today, which are job friendly and which will help you easily find jobs. It's very important for you to work in US for at least some time to recover your cost of education. So please keep that in mind. But if you're going for a STEM course like engineering or especially AI, data, robotics and those kind of courses which are very much in demand today, I think MS in US can be very, very, very good for you. Now, I feel that yes, you should seriously consider this option. Why? I feel middle class families struggle a lot in India. I've seen them. We have been one of those people. It can be frustrating when you do not have connections and things are not easy to get done. And that is why I love US. It's truly meritocratic, and if you work hard, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will get excellent growth opportunities. And this is what we are seeing. This is why we are seeing Indians are absolutely thriving in US, and most of them have come from middle class families. So take heart in this fact. Do not give up on the US dream so easily. Do your homework, and if you think you are a student who can work hard, you can make things happen, then US is the place to be. I have absolutely no doubt in that. So for a middle class person, I think US is a great place to be, not only to uplift and build your own identity, your life, but also change the life of your parents and possibly your extended family as well. Tell me what you think about today's video. What are your thoughts on it? Whether it makes sense, whether I've missed out something, please leave those things in the comments below. And I will see you next week. So stay subscribed. Take care. Bye-bye.